I want to talk just a little about the ethical aspect of evolutionist statements or Darwinian statements, such as this, for example. And I quote, "There is no fundamental difference between man and the higher mammal in their mental faculties." What do you think of if someone will use the same statements for the general public or in universities?
Well, this has been an ethical implication, or at least a metaphysical implication of Darwinism from the beginning, that in order for Darwinian theory to work, you have to deny an ancient philosophical idea called essentialism, the idea that there are essential or qualitative differences between different forms of life, and especially between humans and lower animals. And I do use the word lower intentionally. There are qualitative differences that are obvious to our observation. The highest primates don't use mathematics. They don't tell jokes. They don't engineer multi-part systems. They don't use language. They don't create symphonies. They don't study us. We study them. There are clear qualitative differences that are obvious that make humans different from other animals. Darwinism denies that there are essential differences. It affirms, rather, that all biological forms are infinitely elastic and malleable. It's a necessary condition of there being an evolutionary process over time. And so, for example, Peter Singer, a bioethicist at Princeton University, has argued that, for example, a newborn baby is of less value than a 3-year-old dog or a cat, because obviously the baby is more dependent and the dog or cat can perform certain functions for us by that age. And so he denies a qualitative difference in value of humans and animals. And you see this happening in the bioethical field across the disciplines and or across the species. Thomas Joke, a Berkeley scientist in the 70s, said that soon we'll be talking about the rights of bacteria because the only difference between us and them is a difference in the length of our DNA sequences. And so you have this kind of materialistic reductionist view of life that ends up reducing human value and oftentimes elevating the value of animals. And so Singer was quite explicit about the basis for his claims about these things. He said, all we're doing is catching up with Darwin. We used to think there was an unbridgeable divide between us and them, and now we know that's not true. So I think Darwinism does lead to diminution of the value of human beings in the minds of people who hold to that theory. And I think that's tragic. I think we need to affirm the intrinsic value of human beings in a moral sense. And I think the Judeo-Christian ethical framework does that, whereas the Darwinian one, I think, he faces our confidence in the intrinsic dignity of human beings.